Hello. Hello, girlie. My name is Singular Dubs, and welcome back to Hello. And before we start yapping, because you know how this goes, the drink of the day, it's a coffee. We are drinking a mocha today. I truly need all the caffeine I can get, even though caffeine honestly makes me a little anxious sometimes, but I'm exhausted. So today, coffee. Oh, and let's just take a little break. If you particularly don't have social anxiety, I still think it's helpful for you to listen to this episode, because if you have a friend that does struggle with it, then you might understand them a little bit better. You might understand why they are so avoidant sometimes, why they don't want to hang out, or how their brain is thinking, in order for you to feel a little more empathy towards them. Because I know I have friends that are literally so outgoing and they thrive in social settings, and they literally cannot understand why I would hate to go to a bar and talk to a stranger. Like, that's worst nightmare ever. So they don't get it. But maybe if you listen to this, then you'll understand a little better. Let's just dive straight into the topic. Today we're talking about social anxiety, and whether you experience it on your day-to-day life or whether you experience it on certain situations. I know it can affect you so much because I am a victim of social anxiety. I struggle with it a lot. And mind you, I think now as time goes by and like as I've had more and more tools to deal with it, I struggle with it less. So I just want to talk to you about what it is, how to get over it, what I've done that's been working out for me, which might be helpful for you to be able to navigate this whole experience a little bit easier and not like go through such a rocky path. Because to be honest, I've had social anxiety for the past maybe 6 years, and I feel like just now it's starting to get better and I'm starting to be able to work through it. So I wish this podcast can save you at least 2 out of those 6 years of social anxiety and just, speed up the process for you to get over it a little easier. And I just want to start with this. You are not an alien by having social anxiety. You're not weird. You're not alone. A lot of people go through it. Just it's not really normal to talk about it. And I think over the years, we've been normalizing talking about anxiety and having it, not having it, how to deal with it. And although social anxiety, it's a form of anxiety, I think not a lot of people really dive into this one. And trust me, you're not alone. I'm there. I know how isolating it can be to see everyone thriving and living their best life, and for you to feel like, holy shit, I'm literally just sitting in my home because my body does not allow me to just go and socialize. And you want to do it. Something inside you wants to do it, but you just simply can't. And girlies, please keep in mind that this episode is all about compassion, understanding, and figuring it all out together. As on every episode, I'll share some of my own story, how I've learned to navigate it. And honestly, before we start, just take a little deep breath, because I know talking about these things is not a comfortable thing, and honestly, I'm putting myself out there, and I guess everyone knows that I have social anxiety, so yay. Just take a deep breath. We got this. First of all, what is social anxiety? This is not about being shy or being introverted, because to be honest, I am neither of those things. I cannot shut up for the life of me. I was literally sick for the past 3 weeks. I fully lost my voice. I could not stay quiet. Like, literally, you put a lamp in front of me, I will talk to that lamp, okay? So I am not shy. I am not introverted. I just have a really hard time in a social setting interacting with people, or at least like the first part of the interaction, I really, really struggle with it. And that's what it is. It's the overwhelming fear and discomfort of being in a social situation. Now, it can be for different things. It can be the fear of being judged, the fear of saying the wrong thing, the fear that what are people going to think of you? It can be all of those things together. For me, I know particularly is the fear of saying the wrong thing, because in case you didn't know, English is not my first language. And although I know that I speak it pretty well, when I panic, I'm like, holy Jesus Christ, am I going to say the wrong thing? Am I going to say, because I mix up she and he all the time. And in case you didn't know, I live in San Francisco, and here the whole pronoun situation is a big, big, big deal, as it should be. But I'm not doing it out of rudeness. I am doing it because my brain literally starts glitching when I have to speak to people. And I'm like, oh, So bottom line, I think my brain is going like 1,000 miles per hour when it should be going like 5 miles per hour. And I'm overthinking it and I'm panicking. And that generates social anxiety. And I think, to be honest, when I'm in a social setting, I am just overthinking and thinking that everyone's looking at me and everyone's thinking of me and judging me. And spoiler alert, they're literally not. No one cares about you. They're thinking about themselves. But honestly, it's a lot to think about when it's happening. And let's be honest, the root of most anxieties is the what if, right? And I think in a social setting and for social anxiety, it's the what if I say the wrong thing? What if I look at somebody wrong? What if I am underdressed? What if, what if, what if? And all of these what ifs just like stay in your head, and then you're overthinking it, and then you're like literally you're putting so much pressure on yourself to perform, to say the right thing, that you end up literally collapsing. And because when you end up putting yourself in these situations and your brain over spirals on the what ifs, what if, what if, what if, and then you end up so exhausted, next time you're gonna end up avoiding these type of situations. You're gonna say, what am I gonna even put myself through this? I would rather not, because it's exhausting. And the reality is that it is exhausting to get through that. And then you get home at the end of a social hangout and you are literally your social battery on the floor. It needs like a month to recover. So you end up just avoiding it. And here's the reality about this. The more you avoid these situations, although they might feel comfortable in the moment, it might feel safe to say, today I'm not going to coffee with my friends, or I'm not meeting these people. You're teaching your brain that social settings are dangerous, therefore we shouldn't go. So the more you avoid it, the more anxiety you're going to get. So it's actually counterproductive to do this, even if it does feel safe in the moment. And I would like to pause here really quick. It's okay if you're in that stage right now, okay? Not because you're there means that you're doing less progress, more progress. It's okay that you're there. Honestly, recognizing that this is an issue and that it's affecting your life, it's the first step. Now, let me tell you the first time that I experienced social anxiety, or the first time that I said, oh my goodness, this is weird. What the hell is this? Because to be honest, my entire life, I was kind of like the popular person. I got along with everybody. I had tons and tons of friends. I thrived in every setting. So I never experienced anything like this until 2020. Mind you, in case you haven't heard the pod before, I was in a very abusive relationship with my ex-husband, and I'm not going to say that he's the root of all of these issues, but he for sure was the one that, set off that spark of a lot of anxieties, because, abusive relationships will do that to you. So it was 2020, and I believe it was Thanksgiving, and, nobody was doing Thanksgiving in person. So all of his family were doing like a video chat, like through Zoom. Everyone was going to eat together. I honestly don't even know if it was Thanksgiving. It might have been something else. But the thing is that it was all of his family on a Zoom call. And we had done Zoom calls like this with his family in the past. But for this particular occasion, I said, I literally can't do it. And he's like, what do you mean you can't do it? And I'm like, no, you don't get it. I can't do it. My heart was racing. It was beating so fast. I felt like I was going to faint. I literally had to go hide underneath my vanity, which this sounds so silly. But honestly, when I panic so much, I feel like I just need like a little space, like a tiny little space where like no one can get me. The sun doesn't touch it. Like I just want to hide and like cocoon myself type of thing. So that was the first time I experienced social anxiety, because I knew it was going to be a lot of people on the call. I did not want to speak to anybody. So I went and hid under my vanity. Mind you, was this something that was building up? Probably. I honestly can't remember anything before that. But to me, that was the first time that I said, oh my goodness, what in the world is this? And then from then on, the next time I also remember it so vividly. We went to IKEA and it was packed. Mind you, this was probably the end of 2020, maybe beginning of 2021. And IKEA is a huge place where a lot of people go. And I think I started seeing all the people and I started feeling a little bit like, Jesus Christ, I can't walk here. I can't, what's going on? And I panicked, right? Is this claustrophobia? I don't think so. I'm not claustrophobic at all. I think it was simply another expression of social anxiety. And I literally had to go sit down in a pretend bathroom at IKEA, like, one of these like set up bathrooms, because I needed to breathe, because I felt like the people were just like closing in on me. It was such a bad experience. And throughout the years I've had, it's 2025 now, throughout the years I've had different expressions of the same feeling, to different extents too. Like I won't, sit down and panic, but you best believe I was in Costco last weekend, and there were so many people, and there were so many carts, and there was so much noise, and I literally had to tell my boyfriend, like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I need to leave. And he was like, no, it's okay. Look at the colors, look at the things around you, because it's a thing in therapy. Maybe I'll dive a little bit into techniques and stuff on how to get over it later. But my boyfriend was like, trying to coach me through it. So it still happens. And I'm okay. And your social anxiety might seem different than those examples, right? So I'm going to give you another one. I've been getting invited a lot lately to a lot of social events for influencers in San Francisco, to which I've been saying yes, slowly but surely. And social anxiety still presents itself. And literally, I went to one yesterday and I had to introduce myself in front of, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 people. I said 3 sentences, like my name, what I do for work, blah, blah, blah. I ended up sitting down in my chair, shaking. Like my hands were shaking so bad. And you best believe, like 3 people before me, I heard nothing of what they said when they were introducing themselves. And 2 people after me, I was still like, my nervous system was still calming down. So I also didn't hear shit. And then I had to go back to the people and be like, hey, so I was a little panicked when you were talking. So what do you do for work? Like, I feel like I didn't hear anything because my ears black out, can't hear, can't listen. I feel like I can't breathe, can't do anything. So that's another example of it, okay? And I didn't have a full panic attack in that moment, but my nervous system did get like discombobulated, didn't know how to act. So I started shaking, and that's okay. There's different expressions of social anxiety. And yours might simply be that you go to a social setting and you don't want to talk to anybody. So you're just sitting quiet in a corner because you don't know how to speak. And that's okay too. It presents itself in different forms for everyone, and that's fine. So let's just talk through it, okay? Let's talk how to overcome it, and let me tell you, no, I'm not going to sit here and tell you this is the magic formula on how you're going to work through it. No, that literally doesn't exist. I mean, take me as an example. It's been 6 years. I'm still struggling with it to different extents, but I'm still here, which also props to me because I went from having full-blown panic attacks and having to hide under a desk to just my hands shaking a little bit, but still being able to go through it. So let's talk about how to get over it, because I'm not going to sit here and tell you that there's a magic cure, that you're going to do this and you're going to be healed right away, because spoiler alert, there is not. In case you didn't hear me, I've had this for 6 years, but I'm going to tell you some of the small steps that have helped me, because I do deeply believe that this is all about the small little things and the consistency that comes with it, that help you build up your confidence, build up your self-esteem, so that you can eventually at some point get out of this mentality. Number 1, challenge your thoughts, okay? Your brain loves to lie to you. Social anxiety loves to lie to you. And I've mentioned this on every single episode I've had so far. We all need a little brain rebrand to become better than what we are right now. Because listen, your brain is going to tell you people are judging you. You are underdressed. You're going to say something stupid. Why are you here? You're not that cool. You're awkward. It's going to tell you all of these things. And in reality, all you need to do is start questioning these thoughts. Is it true? Am I really awkward? And to be honest, most of the time, the answer is no to whatever your brain is telling you. For example, you are underdressed. Am I underdressed? Look around. You're probably going to see another person in jeans and sneakers. It's going to tell you, you're weird. You're not talking. Look around. There's probably people that are also not talking 24/7. That is in fact not my particular case, because I literally do not have the capability of shutting up. But regardless, your brain can tell you you're going to say something weird. You always say something weird. I mean, unless you're calling somebody a hoe, you're probably going to be fine. Like, what's the weirdest thing you can say? You might overshare a little bit, but someone might find it funny, and that's okay. So honestly, just really give it some thought to whatever it's going on in your head. If your brain is telling you something, question it. Number 2, start small. You do not have to go all in or all out into a huge networking event or into an influencer event, into a huge dinner party, because trust me, if I had done that, I would have crashed out. I started very small. Okay, I started by, instead of ordering my coffee online on the app, I actually went in and talked to the barista. And I'm not going to lie, the first couple times I struggled a lot. I couldn't even get my order out. And this might sound so extreme, but it's true. I would look at the menu like the night before and on the way to the coffee shop, so I knew exactly what to get. And then I would get there, I'll be like, can I please get a latte? Mind you, I probably wanted a pistachio latte with oat milk. Whatever it is, and I would just be like, a nice latte. Oh, anything on it? No. Like, that is fine. It might sound so stupid, but that's where I was at. And to be honest, I started there. That is the small step that I took in order to get over it. And if you don't struggle with social anxiety, these might seem like genuinely so fucking ridiculous. And that's fine too. Because I can see why, unless you've struggled with it, it's really hard to understand. Regardless, I started with the coffee shop. And I went, I don't know, I didn't go every day, but I went like 3 times a week, at the same time where I knew it was going to be the same barista. And you know how earlier we spoke about you avoiding something just because it feels safe and it feels comfortable. You're actually telling your brain, oh, yeah, I have motives to be scared. So I started going to the coffee shop 3 times a week at the same time where it was the same baristas. And you know what? My brain generally understood. And this was something that I unpacked in therapy when I was talking to my therapist about it. Like, I've been doing this and it's been feeling really good. And this is what my therapist told me. By you doing it every day, you are making your brain understand that there's no real danger there. The barista's not going to say something rude to you. You're not going to mess up the order. You're going to be okay. You're going to survive. So by doing this 3 times a week, I've been teaching my brain, look, bestie, you will be fine. There is, in fact, nothing to be scared about in this situation. So I started really small in the coffee shop in person, ordering my coffee instead of ordering in the app. And then I went to my first influencer event, okay? And I didn't panic. And I spoke to a couple girls. And, the first one I spoke to, I was fucking terrified. And the second one I spoke to, I was like, okay, the first one was nice. And the third one I spoke to, I felt really comfortable just talking and exchanging socials and whatever else. And this was at an event, okay? This doesn't mean that I wasn't scared in the beginning of the event. But at the second event I went to, my brain knew, look, you were safe at the first event. Yeah, you might have been a little uncomfortable, but we survived, okay? Like, no one just came out of nowhere and stabbed you. You were fine. So at the second event, I feel even safer. And at the third, I feel even safer. And at this point, at the influencer events, I know a good amount of girls, and I know a good amount of people that I can just say hi to, and I know how the interaction is going to go, and my brain knows that I'm going to be safe. So bottom line, just start small by ordering coffee, or you know what? You can even just simply make eye contact with somebody and smile, which actually I find that harder than the iced coffee situation. But you can do that. And someone might come up and talk to you and say hi, or they might not. But just start small. Whatever feels like it's not too threatening to you. I mean, it's going to feel like a little threat, a little bit, but that's okay. Start small. And number 3, it obviously goes tied to number 2, practice exposure therapy. With the small things that you're doing, it's not like you can just do it once and tap out, you're healed. No. You have to expose yourself to uncomfortable situations, uncontrolled environments, mind you, that you feel like you can still be on top of and come out on top, but it's uncomfortable. And to be honest, it's probably going to sound repetitive, and I'm so sorry if it does. But I'm, again, going to take the influencer events as an example. Is this something uncomfortable? Absolutely. It's people that I literally don't know. People that probably have more numbers than me. People that are probably prettier than me, skinnier than me. Just all of these things that overall make me uncomfortable, right? But why is it a controlled environment? Well, no one's tying me down and, holding me hostage. Like, if I don't like it, I can leave. And I've also done it a couple times. Like, I think at one event, I took my boyfriend as a +1. And, I went and the vibes were imbibing. And, I knew a couple girls and I said hi and I took cute pictures and whatever else. But I wasn't having fun. So I literally left, and that's okay too. So that's what I mean by a controlled environment. It's an environment that, even though will make you feel uncomfortable for a period of time while you're exposing yourself to it, you can simply say goodbye, tap out, be safe, and leave. But to be honest, over time, after you've been exposing yourself to these type of things for a while, your brain will understand that there's no real threat and that these situations are not as scary as they seem. Number 4 is find a safe person. Mind you, I don't really like going with people when I'm trying to expose myself to things because I feel like I don't really challenge myself. If, let's say, to an event, I have a +1 and I take my boyfriend, I am not really going to try to socialize with anybody else because I'm going to try to stick to him. But that is right now because I'm in the stage that I'm in right now. Mind you, when I started in the first couple events I went to, I always asked to have a +1 and I would bring a friend or I would bring whoever and I would honestly stick with them. And now that I look back, I feel like these, were like little baby steps that made me get to where I'm at right now. If I probably didn't have a +1 to the first 5 events I went to the first 4 events I went to, I probably wouldn't be able to go by myself now because, I went with a friend. I scanned the area. We talked, we chit-chatted. I maybe say hi to 2 people, met 2 people, and I was fine. And we ate snacks, and we were good. And after the 4th event, I said, okay, maybe I'm ready to do this by myself. So now I feel comfortable going by myself. So bottom line, find a safe person. And this can be boyfriend, girlfriend, plus one, a therapist. It can be whoever you feel like it's going to make you stay grounded. Number 5, self-compassion. Girlies, by you having social anxiety or any type of anxiety, this doesn't make you the weird one out. This doesn't mean that you're odd and that you're just very strange. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that your brain is a little bit extra cautious of certain things. So be kind to yourself. I know I used to just beat myself up so much and think, why the fuck can I not just go to a social gathering? Like, why do I have to stay home? Like, but it was to points where, like, I literally couldn't even get out of the bed because I was so scared of the thought of attending to something. I wasn't even at the place. The thought of attending something scared me the fuck out. And then I would feel even worse of, like, not only am I scared of going, but now I feel bad because I'm not going, and why the fuck? And I would just be so rude to myself. And now I give myself a little grace. Listen, anxiety is just your brain trying to protect you. That's what it is. I mean, you've probably experienced certain situations that have made you this cautious. In my case, it was my ex. Listen, my ex didn't care if we were at home or in a public setting or with people or just at a mall. If he wanted to be rude, he would be rude, okay? And then I'm just there, standing there and thinking, fuck, people are looking around. Mind you, one time we were literally just outside in the street, and I think there was like a restaurant across the street. And imagine the level of where my ex was at, that he was just, I don't know, maybe like shaking me by my arm, or like he wouldn't let me go. I don't remember. A guy stood up from the restaurant across the street and came up to us and literally said, are you okay? Like, just leave her alone. Like, the guy tried to stand up for me, and my ex was like, she's my wife, I can do whatever I want with her. The situation escalated, okay? Let's just leave it at that. But I think it was situations like this that made me just really wary of being outside and just, you know, like, oh my goodness, I'm overthinking everything at all times. So I know this is why I am the way I am, okay? So it's literally just my brain trying to keep me safe. And you might be thinking, like, well, but the guy was like standing up for you, like he wasn't doing anything rude to you. Like, I know, but what was going on through my head at that time is like, oh my gosh, what are people gonna think of me? They're literally gonna think that I'm so stupid for being with this guy. So I'm overthinking everything and everything and everything. So honestly, I think anxiety is just our brains trying to keep us safe. You know, to some people it gets out of hand, like in my case, and some people just are fine with it. They're like, oh yeah, maybe this influencer event is a little scary, but I'll be fine. And that's it. They think about it for 1 second and it's gone. But honestly, overall, just be gentle to yourself. Not because you are this way means that you're a bad person or that you're fucking insane. And lastly, just after a situation, take a minute to reflect. Some people are going to tell you journal. I don't like journaling. I feel like sitting down and writing is a big effort and I don't want to do it. I don't like journaling. But I will reflect. And mind you, this can take 2 seconds or this can take an hour. Think about what went wrong, what went right, how you did okay in a certain situation. Think about all the moments, dissect it a little bit. And then your brain is going to think, yeah, I stood up and I introduced myself and, you know, I ended up shaking. But why was I shaking? Like, I did great. You know, literally on the event yesterday when I had to say my little 3 sentences, afterwards, this girl from the restaurant came up to me and she's like, hey, I just have to tell you, you are such a good public speaker. You enunciated your words and I understood everything you said. With some of the girls, I had no idea what they were saying. And I was like, oh, thank you. Like, that's so nice of you. And I was literally shaking and I did great. So now I'm thinking, why do I get so freaking terrified of speaking in front of 20 people when in actuality, I do so well? But why am I so scared of it? Just because I have to speak a little louder? Like, it's gonna be okay. So next time I stand up, I'm gonna have that girl in mind. And I'm gonna say, I did great last time. I can do great this time too. So reflecting, and if you want to journal, please do. I'm not saying that journaling is bad. It's just not my thing. But just reflect about what went down. And now that you know the steps that I've been taking to overcome this shitty ass feeling, this is the part where I remind you that you're not alone. I'm here with you. You know, social anxiety is not a straight line. It has ups and downs, and the downs are, you know, sucky. But what matters is that you're doing what you're doing to make some progress, because every single little step that you take matters. So celebrate your moments. Even if you did fucking panic, what matters is that you show up to the thing. And please keep in mind that everyone's journey looks different. What matters is that you're showing up for yourself, because also you're not doing this for anybody else. You're doing this for you. I mean, Literally, no one gains or loses anything if I show up to the influencer event. I'm doing it for myself. So do this for you. And remember, as I said, you're not alone. I'm here with you. I will cheer you on. If this is something you're struggling on, feel free to DM me, send me a little voice note. We can chit chat about it because you're literally not alone. And I can guarantee you, like I'm here for you for sure. But there's other people maybe in your life that are also struggling with it, but no one really talks about it. So how would you know that they're struggling with it? All right, girly pops, that is it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening and giving me your time and joining me and just letting me share with you something so close to my heart. Because I do feel like although everyone advocates for mental health, they're not really speaking about what mental health issues they're personally struggling with. They just said like, oh yeah, mental health is important and check on your loved ones, which for sure is important. But I think connecting with people in this level so that you understand that there's others also struggling with it, it's incredibly important. And if social anxiety is something that you're struggling with and you found this episode at all helpful, please don't forget to share it. Don't forget to subscribe and just follow me on all socials. You can find me as at It's a Law Podcast on every platform, including TikTok because apparently it's not banned anymore. And at Dubs also on every platform. Yes, including TikTok. And if this episode resonated with you, just share it with somebody who might need it or drop me a DM. I always love chit-chatting with you guys because, as I said, I love talking. And I would also love to hear your thoughts. And remember, you're not alone. You're not an alien. You're literally fine. You're just struggling a little bit at the moment, but that's okay. And don't forget to subscribe to the pod and leave a review if you're loving it. Besitos!